let's talk about goals and goal setting and the importance of goal setting. You know, why do we need the goals, and what does that even look like? So I like to start off for you guys, the younger guys. I would say every one of y'all need to have a 30-year goal. You know, for me, my 30-year goal is probably a graveyard, but y'all, it's not that way. So if you're looking and you're going to your 60 years old, my question is, where do you want to be when you're 60 years old? What does that look like? You know, I want to live here. I want to be retired, but I want to earn X amount of dollars, and it needs to be a very definitive number that you want to achieve. And I want a second home. I want this, I want that. Lay that 30-year goal out to exactly what you want in life. No ifs, ands, or buts. Just, and I'm going to tell you, if you underestimate that number, I'm going to tell you you're going to underestimate that number, okay? Regardless, you're going to underestimate it. If you take this exercise seriously, you will underestimate it. I made my 30-year goals in less than 10 years. Then I reset 30-year goals again, and I made those in less than 10 years. And I set them again, and I made those. And you'll have to redirect and redo them, but the importance is that year over year to evaluate where you're going, and when you see yourself hit the goals that you're looking for, then adjust your future goals. When you see yourself getting where, hey, this is really realistic in 5 years, not 20 more years, then change your 20-year goal at that point and make it what you want it to be. So starting out, you're going to define your 30-year goals. What's it going to take to get to where your 30-year goals are? Then you decide, okay, what will it take to get where I want to be in 20 years? You know, do I want to still be working? Do I want to work part-time? Where do I want to live? What about my kids? I don't have kids yet, so my kids are just getting out of school. I got to pay for college. How much money do I need for that? Do I want to work every day to pay for the college? Do I want to have assets to pay for the college for me? What do I want? Then we do that on a 10-year goal. Same concept. A 3-year goal. So your 3-year goals is, I want to be retired. I want to be bringing in $50,000 a month worth of income on cash flow. And that's where I want to be on my 30-year goal, if that's what you said. Okay, where do I need to be in 3 years to reach that goal? When you do your goals and you write your goals down, you will achieve your goals. Anybody have any experience with that? Kenny, is it right or wrong? I mean, have you ever failed a goal when you wrote it down and said, this is what I'm going to do? Have you done some audacious goals? So you've done some really stupid goals that there's no way you can make them, but guess what? You blow them out the water. And I don't know anybody that hasn't. Bob? Same thing?
My wife and I were cleaning out a file cabinet, and we found some goals that we set 35 years ago that were written down on a legal pad. And we just had to laugh at them because we thought they were so lofty, but we accomplished them very shortly after we wrote them down. Everybody that I know just about that's successful has a written personal business plan with time-based goals. I don't know too many people that are what I would consider successful that don't.
Isn't that one of the main points of that book, Think and Grow Rich? That just tells you to do that exact thing.
Thinking,
Yes.
yep. Yeah. And how many of you in this room have that now? The goals, your goals. Okay. And they're drawn out that long? Or they're just in your head? Because you have to physically write them down. You can't do your mind. If you do it in your mind, you can change it too easy. It doesn't work the same. You have to put it down. You have to hold yourself accountable to it. So when you get to that 3-year goal, then we're going to talk about, okay, now we're going to go to a 1-year goal. Then I'm going to go to a 90-day goal. And my wife and I meet, a 30-day goal, her and I meet together every 2 weeks and talk about where we're heading. We talk about what's going on in our life. We talk about, are we making this 1 year goal I got ahead of me right now that I got to get done in 12 months? Are we making that? And we adjust and we look at it. And one of our goals here recently was we look at it and we, you know, she's heavily involved in the politics stuff that's going on, and it's affecting my business because she's not working in my business like she was. So I said, we got to hire somebody. And it wasn't something we were ready to hire somebody. But then Scott came available, and we hired Scott. And he's been with us for a month and a half now. So he's been here a month and a half, and we've been able to watch Scott in a month and a half bring us to bring us to a level that very easily 4 months from now, he can manage this whole company probably. And he can work the goals that we give him. And I'm already not involved in my business, really. I work 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week. I mean, I really don't work in my company at all. And that was by design. My wife was working 70-hour work weeks. So Scott coming has been able to afford her now where in just that little bit of time, I don't know, would you say, Scott, she's even working 20-hour work weeks? I mean, she's here, but is she working on a business 20 hours a week? No. I mean, so it's went that fast. She's lost 50 hours of a work week to Scott. Is Scott working 70 hours? No, he's a government employee. 40 hours, he's going home. He doesn't care.
Well, I do put in 70 hours trying to get Winston to turn his receipts in for his credit card.
That is true. That is true. You feel his pain.
Oh, yeah. Every day.
You just got to make them up. It's okay. But
Well,
if
problem is when Christina gets to ride in the truck, she brings a whole pile and says, I found all these.
True. If y'all will do that, that is how you're going to get to where you are. When I brought Scott on, her biggest thing is we can't afford that payroll right now. Now we need to pay him, we can't afford it. And I said, okay. And I hired him. And here we are. And Scott, have you went without a check yet?
Nope.
Not yet? Cool.
Got paid today.
Cool. So there's so much more that anyone in this room can do than what you think you can do. I got Charles over here. I'm going to hammer on Charles for a second. Going to join the National Guard so he can make extra money so he can invest in real estate. I would not do that. Do it because it's a passion of yours and that's what you want to do. But I think you can do the real estate without it.
Well, it's both. It's side business.
Okay. But the real estate, there is no doubt that you can do the real estate without it. I will walk y'all down that path if I have to. I don't care. But you can definitely do it. You know, but if it's a passion, then go do that passion because that's important and there's nothing better than important, and we need good men in the military for sure. But I want everybody just to recognize the fact. I heard goals, and I started doing my goals at a very early age. It is that important. It really is that important to do it and to write it down. Yes, sir.
Would you talk a little bit about, like right now you have Christina as, I mean, I'm going to look at it as a goal partner. You know, you meet with every 2 weeks. How was it when you had no partner? When you set your goals, how was that different for you?
I've set goals since I was in my early 20s, so to remember back before that, I don't know. I can tell you that when I was working for Hilton Hotels, I could save up. I wasn't making great money with Hilton. I mean, that was I started in 86 with them. So that wasn't tons of money that I was making. You know, I think I started out at $8 an hour, maybe $7 an hour. You know, so it wasn't a bunch of money. But I can remember that I would save up, you know, all year long and save $4,000. And I'd be like, man, I have worked my behind off all year long. I've saved up $4,000. I am sick of this. Then I would cash out. I didn't have a 401k. We had a thrift plan, I think it was called, a thrift plan. And I would cash out my thrift plan, and I would go buy a stereo. And I did that like 3 different times. Every year, I was just so fed up. What do poor people do with their money? They buy stuff. So what did I have? I had a poor man's mentality. So I couldn't find satisfaction in a $4,000 bank account. But I could find my satisfaction for at least 60 days in a stereo, and then you're miserable because you spent all your money on a stereo, and I'm starting at zero again. You know, we got it. We eating from the same bowl of soup. I think most of y'all can probably relate to that to a certain degree. That when we pour, we try to fill that void in our life with buying a few little cheap trinkets. We go to Walmart and think that we're rich, you know, and it's just not the case. I mean, we don't understand. And then once I understood what that really meant, that was the whole different scenario. And I don't, you know, I buy exactly what I want. I don't want a whole lot is the problem. You know, having fancy stuff is not what excites me. It just doesn't, you know.
I think the more you get, the less you want. You know, the more, you know, you just get confident in your wealth, because I think a lot of people buy stuff to compensate for maybe their lack of self-worth, but the more successful they are and the more grounded, I mean, I think a lot of it is, you really should be seeking contentment with yourself at the same time that you're seeking success.
And as you live in your same house, now you've been in your house a long time, but as you live in your same house for 5 years and then you move somewhere else and watch all the trash you throw away, the stuff that you bought that you absolutely had to have, and you throw it away and it's never been used. You know, the last time we moved, my wife threw away stuff that's never been opened. It had never even been opened, brand new. And I'm that guy that's going in a dumpster. I ain't fighting the haul all over the town to give it to people. I'm gonna throw it away, let them get their own freaking job and figure it out. I ain't out here to give you a handout. That might be a bad attitude, but it's mine. And I own it. You got the same one? No, because you're a government servant. You're giving everybody all your stuff. You're driving all over town to give it to them. I know how you are. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't what you're saying?
That's Jody, you know that. So I went around the house when she went to Paris, Tennessee the other day, a couple weeks ago. I went around the house and counted. We moved here, she moved here October of 22. So since October of 22, we've been here in Nashville. We have 11 medium-sized Home Depot unopened moving boxes. Still taped shut.
That's that important stuff there. It is crazy. Yes, sir.
While we're on the subject, talk about balance.
Who?
Like balance. In what I'm experiencing, you know, we're building 20 homes a year or whatever. Next year our goals are double it. Right now, it's 7 days a week. It's 15-hour days, whatever it takes.
So if your goal is to build, how does building 20 houses this year help you?
It's a challenge within myself.
But how does it help you if you're not holding in those houses for longevity? Huh?
We're going to do that tomorrow, right?
Yes. Well, right over here, where's my sign? Tomorrow, right there. The mystical land that 99% of people live. So, you're blind now? You're blind after the laser in your eye? What was your question?
Really just not really a question, just a discussion on balance.
So, I don't know what. I'm gonna let you answer before I say anything, because.
Okay, because I went through the same thing, and you know, I've been to some remodeling shows on the national level, and their answer to that is charge more. People think they can't charge more. If you don't respect how much you're worth, no one else is going to respect it. And you know, and somebody will answer that by saying, "Well, I'll lose half my customers." Well, if you charge twice as much, lose half your customers, you're still working half as much.
So let me answer something to that. I needed a septic tank done at my house. So I went to a guy that I know who does septic tanks. And I said, Chris, I need a septic tank. He said, I'm 16 weeks out. I said, you're 16 weeks out? He said, yeah. He said, everybody is. I said, then charge more money. He said, what? I said, I'll give you twice as much money to put my septic tank in sooner. He said, I can't do that. I said, what do you mean you can't do that? He said, that's unethical. I said, how's it unethical? I'm willing to give you twice what somebody else is willing to give you to do it. He said, but they're already on my list. I said, if you're 16 weeks out and everyone else is 16 weeks out, triple your price, and maybe now you're 2 weeks out. But you've made 3 times the money off of every single job you have done, and you work 2 months and you don't have to work the rest of the year, and you've made the same amount of money. And he just thought that was the worst thing in the world. He said, that is the most unethical thing. And I never would have thought you would have come up with that. I don't see how that's unethical. You are giving people the service, and a homeowner that wants it right now, and I'm that guy, I want it right now. I don't want to wait. And I'm willing to pay for it if I got to pay for it. I don't care.
The natural law of supply and demand. That's all that is.
Yeah.
Capitalism.
Yeah. William, go ahead.